Hey everybody, it's Rob from Rob's Game Group here. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at different ways you can get into the RPG hobby without breaking the bank. And right after this. If you like the channel, please subscribe, hit the notification button, thumbs up because it helps our videos circulate. If you'd like to interact with us outside of YouTube, you can find us on Facebook at Rob's Game Group, all one word. Now, that all that's out of the way. RPGs on a budget. RPGs have gotten exponentially more expensive over the last 30-something years. A lot of things have gotten more expensive, let's be honest. However, it's a hobby. And sometimes you can end up spending a lot of money, trust me, I know, on this hobby. But maybe you don't want to, or maybe you can't, but you're interested in getting involved. And you look at something like, I'll use D&D as a big comparison here on a lot of stuff, because D&D is pretty much a household name at this point. Everybody knows it. But you can to get into D&D, to running D&D, you need your player's handbook, your DMG, your monster manual. That's just your 3 core books for running the game. And at retail price, that's like $150. And that doesn't include a setting or adventures. You still have to write those or buy those. Now, some of the stuff I'm going to talk about, I understand you can get some of this cheaper by going the PDF route. You can get some of this cheaper by certain places online giving discounts. I'm kind of basing most of this off of regular retail price. I will mention a few things that you can get online cheaper. But we're going to try to look at 7, maybe 8, depending on how you look at it, games that you can get into for around $30, which is not bad. That's half the price of a current video game. So maybe you don't have hundreds of dollars that you want to drop on the hobby. Maybe you want to start small, dip your toes in, and see if you even like role-playing games first before spending a bunch of money. Maybe you already have more expensive games and you're looking to try out some other style of games, but you don't want to drop $100, $150 to get all the stuff to try a game out. So okay, so what games can we look at for around $30 to try some different genres and to try some different role-playing games? And keep in mind too, this is not an exhaustive list. This is not a comprehensive list. This is not everything. This is just 7 games I grabbed off the shelf that I had access to that you could get into for $30 or less. And there are other games out there that you can do this with too. You just kind of have to do the research and watch YouTube videos on them and see if they're things that you are interested in. So let's start with the big one that everybody knows, and that's D&D. Like I said, if you're going to buy the main game, Player's Handbook, DMG, and Monster Manual, you're looking at $150. Well, that definitely exceeds our $30 cap that we're putting on this. But what you can do, if you're wanting to get into it, is you could pick up like the Essentials kit for D&D. Excuse me, this is like a starter set that you can get. Your local game stores, I think, carry it. Target carries it. Some Walmarts may carry it. Barnes & Nobles may carry it. There are a lot of places that carry it. And it has a 64-page rule book that teaches you how to create characters of levels 1 to 6. So you can go up to 6th level with this box set. Dragon of Icespire Peak, which is a introductory adventure that I have personally never run, but I've heard that it's good. Double-sided poster map. It comes with a DM screen, 6 blank character sheets, 11 dice, and 81 cards describing magic items, sidekicks, and more. So it's everything you know, or everything you need to play, create characters and play levels 1 to 6 characters of D&D And that's actually a pretty good amount of gameplay. And this thing retails for $24.99. So you've still got $5 left over, not counting taxes. But if D&D is the one you want to go with because it's what your friends have heard of, so maybe it's the only thing they're interested in trying, or if it's just your chance to try something and you want to try D&D because you've heard all about it, the Essentials Kit is a fantastic box for $25 that gets you into the game. And after you play this, you will know whether or not you want to go further into this hobby. Now keep in mind, you don't have to just play the adventures that is in here. You could make the characters play the adventure that's in here. It's got monsters in here in the book. You could make up your own adventures and play afterwards with new characters. You could get a lot of mileage out of this $25 box. So, just a moment. So let's move along to the next thing in the list. This one is one that you've heard me talk about a lot on the channel, and that is Savage Worlds. Savage Worlds is a fantastic game system, in my opinion. It's a kind of universal game system. It's a set of rules that lets you play pretty much anything you want to. You want to play Old West, you can use this. You want to play sci-fi, you want to play fantasy, you want to play noir, you want to play just modern monster hunters, or fantasy monster hunters for that matter, which is kind of just fantasy. But you can do it with Savage Worlds. Now, the current edition of Savage Worlds is the Adventure Edition, which is a nice big hardback book, and it is really good. However, it breaks our budget because the retail on this book is $39.99. Now, remember when I said I was going to talk about some things you could find cheaper online. I have seen this for like $27, $28.99 on Amazon. I don't know what it's currently at, but I have seen it go cheaper on there. So if you really want the more current edition of Savage Worlds, you could get it, but you'll either be going over the $30 or you're going to have to wait and shop around. So why bring it up? Well, because the previous edition of Savage Worlds Deluxe, these rules still work just fine. We use them for years, like, I don't know, 8 or 10 years, something like that. It was a long time. And this book is $10. It retailed for $10 when it first came out. But it's $10 now. You can buy it on Amazon for $9.99 with Prime. And you can do the same thing with this. The newer version is just more cleaned up, has some alternate rules and a few changes, but it's still even fairly compatible with this because a lot of their source material is made off of this. So this is still good. If you wanted to get one of these and play, you could get multiple types of role-playing games out of this $10 purchase. There are a couple of things that you'll need with Savage Worlds, which I've talked about in some of my other videos. Something to use as bennies, a poker deck, and dice, obviously. But if you're only spending $10 on the book, you got $20 to buy that other stuff, and that's plenty of money for it. So I bring it up because it is still currently available. You can get it on Amazon for $10. It's a fantastic game system that we used quite a bit. And there's still plenty of material out there for it. And yeah, it's hard to turn down a $10 system that worked for so many years. And it worked because it works. I do like the Adventure Edition, the new edition, better. But I've gone over all that in other videos too. So let's look at some other ones. And I've got a couple of other starter set boxes here. This one being the Cyberpunk Red Jumpstart Kit. Now this one retails for $29.99, so we're right at our $30 for this. But it comes with a booklet and all the essential rules needed to play right out of the box, a booklet full of world lore and adventures to run, 6 customizable characters, a set of Cyberpunk dice, maps, standees to bring the Cyberpunk world to life. Now, does it have all of the information that the new Cyberpunk Red rulebook has? No, of course not. It's a starter box. It doesn't even have character creation in here. You have pre-gen characters that you can customize the stats on depending on what you want to do. But it's a lot of fun. It's a great starter set. And it definitely would let you know if you were interested in playing a regular Cyberpunk game before dropping the credits for the big book. Again, for like 30 bucks. Our next offering is one that if we're going to go into the horror genre, then I don't think you can go wrong with the Call of Cthulhu. Now, this is the new-ish Call of Cthulhu starter set, and it comes with a ton of stuff. I've actually done a video on this. I'm not going to go over everything that's in it, but it has pre-gen characters. It has blank character sheets. It has rules for making your own characters. Multiple adventures in here. The quick start rules that are in here, you can run campaigns for months with just that. I've done it, so I know you can do it. And this one rings in at $24.99. So that's not bad. If you want some Lovecraftian horror but you don't want to break the bank, grab the Call of Cthulhu starter set and try it out. This next one's a little weird, in my opinion, and that's just because of the way the system works in it. But this is by Evil Hat Productions, and it is called Monster of the Week. Monster of the Week is also going to will come in at 25 bucks. It's a 320-page rule book. It covers character creation rules, 8 simple moves to investigate and deal with monsters. It's kind of a modern day Monster Hunter type game, but you could do a lot of different things with it. Like you could do a Buffy game with this. Obviously, you could do a Spike an Angel game as well. But any kind of modern, it doesn't even have to be modern, I guess. I think a lot of these are set up to the art. Everything looks modern, but you have different types of characters that you can play. I'll just read the back of it because this one I find a little difficult to explain. Alright, a monster lurks in the shadows. Most people don't believe in monsters, but you know the truth. They're real, and it's your task to bring them down. This revised edition of Monster of the Week brings that adventure to life. Monster of the Week is a standalone action horror RPG for 3 to 5 people. Hunt the high school beasties in a Buffy the Vampire Slayer style game. Travel the country, like a couple of brothers in Supernatural and bring down monsters, or head up a government investigation like Mulder and Scully. So it takes any of those styles, those literally TV show Monster of the Week styles, and lets you play them in this. And I have not run this, so don't take this as a review, obviously. I'm just talking about the game. But I have read through a bunch of it. Me and my friend Jason got kind of invested in this and checked it out, and we just haven't had a chance to play it. But I do think it's a cool game, and I do hope to get to play it one day. Especially since some of those other games are harder to get your hands on. So what if you want to do fantasy, but you don't want to do D&D? Or you just want something that's cheaper than the $25? Well, there's another way to go about that. And keep in mind, I am, again, not saying that this is the definitive list. This is all the games like this. I'm about to talk about OSRs. And there are tons of OSRs. What's an OSR? OSR is a style of role-playing that is, it stands for Old School Renaissance or Old School Revival role-playing games. And it's basically where they take old editions of D&D and through the open game license, they use those mechanics to clean them up with a little bit of 3rd edition and reprint them and make their own retro clone games with them. So 2 of the ones that I have here, Basic Fantasy, which I've done a video on, this is my favorite, and then White Box. Again, not the only ones. There's a lot of them out there. These just happen to be the 2 I own, so I could grab them off the shelf. They both basically do the same thing. They emulate old school D&D. And they do it really well. I just think this one does it better. And when I say old school D&D, I mean it's like the old red box D&D with a little more modern game theory with the ascending AC class and stuff like that in the game. I really, really like them, and if you want to try them out, they're also really cheap. This one in particular is $5 for a physical copy off of Amazon. You can also get it on Lulu and Drive-Thru RPG. I can't remember. I don't know what the price is on there. But the PDF for these books, or this book in particular, all of their books, is free. You can go to their website and download the books and read them. But if you want the physical copy, $5. And this has a complete game. Takes your characters from levels 1 to 20. So I highly recommend giving that a shot. It's also a bit easier than even 5th edition D&D or Pathfinder, some of these more modern games that are out. White Box doesn't take you as high. I think it takes you to 10th level. I believe, yeah, looks like it takes you to 10th level. And it doesn't have some of the same spells and stuff that you have in the old school D. It has some of the same spells, but it's missing some off the list, which I'll go over in another video. But it again is a complete game. It's just 10 levels of a game, and I think this one was like $7. So again, not bad. I got it off of Amazon for $7. So if you're looking for fantasy style gaming, both of those are a good way to do that and do it really cheap. So I have one more that I'm going to go over, and I'm not going to go into a ton of detail about it. But it had to make this list for a couple of reasons. Number one, I just got my hands on it, and I've read it a couple of times. I'm really, really excited about this game. But let's say you're like me and you're a big fan of the Alien franchise. Obviously, I have a lot of the Alien stuff. The problem with the Alien stuff is we can't get Alien the RPG in our $30 budget. It's not going to happen. The core book by itself, if you get it, which I'm not saying it's not worth it, but it is a $59 book. You might get it a little cheaper online, but it's a $60 book. The starter set for it, while I do think it's a phenomenal deal, it's $50, but it comes with everything you need to play, cinematic-wise, including the dice. I think for $50 it's a steal. But there are two reasons that we can't put Alien in. Number one, either way you start out with Alien, you break our $30 budget. And the other thing that I think is a downside to Alien, and I've mentioned this a couple of times, it's not really a downside, because when they made the Alien RPG, they were attempting to make an Alien RPG, not a gritty, dark, industrial sci-fi RPG that you could use aliens in. And I've looked at Alien several times and went, man, this is a great system, but we could use this for so-and-so and so-and-so. But we'd have to custom build the monsters because they all work off of a special attack system that they have. And I'm not saying it can't be done. It can obviously be done. But it's a lot more work that you have to add into it. And then I stumbled across this. Those Dark Places. Those Dark Places is a rules-light, story-focused role-playing game about the darker side of space exploration and the people who travel the stars in claustrophobic, dangerous conditions. Starships, stations, and outposts aren't havens of safety with clean, brightly lit corridors. They're potential death traps, funded by budget-conscious corporate interest and running on stale, recycled air and water. The stars may be the future of humanity, but they are also home to horrors and terror that the human mind cannot comprehend. This game from Osprey Games, which I've had some of their games before, Frostgrave, Dragon Rampant, Gaslands, most of those being miniature games, but this is the first role-playing game that I've gotten from them, and I absolutely love it. The artwork in the book, which I'm not going to take the time to flip through now, if you go to Rob's Game Group on Facebook, I actually have a post up there that has all the artwork from the book in it. It's very stark, very beautiful, very eye-catching artwork. It's very evocative of the system, and it draws you into exactly the atmosphere that you're looking for. So what does this do that Alien doesn't? Well, you can play Alien with this. Literally, this could be used to play the Aliens RPG. But, wait, there's more. You could also do Blade Runner, Event Horizon, Pandorum, TV's The Expanse, Dark Matter, any of those dark industrial gritty sci-fi shows or movies, you could do with this. The character creation process in it is beautiful. I love the way it works, and it's so simple, and it takes 5 minutes max. But the game works off of 1d6. That's it. You don't need a whole set of dice. You need 1d6 to play this game. Now keep in mind, like I said, it is rules light. But being rules light the way it is allows you to play any of that type of sci-fi, not just Alien or not just Event Horizon. You can take any of that style and play it with your players. $20 for the hardback. Not bad at all. So that is 7-ish games that you can get into for $30 or less. So if you are interested in role-playing, like I said, and you don't want to break the bank, or maybe you got a wife and kids and, you know, you're not at a point in your life where you can just dump tons of money and time into a hobby. This video doesn't really help you with time at all. Anyway, so that's the time is your problem. You're going to figure that out on your own. I can't help you with that. The money side of it, though, I can tell you that these games are games that you can get into for $30 or less. Try them out, because you know what? Maybe you want to role play, but you don't really care about fantasy, sword and sorcery type role play. Some people just want to do dark, gritty space or cyberpunk. That's fine too. My point in making this video is to illustrate that across multiple styles of gameplay, across multiple genres, across multiple games, there are ways to get involved where you don't have to spend a ton of money to do so. So if you have any other ideas of games that people can get into for $30 or less, me no talk good this morning, it bad. Hey, put them down in the comments, and or hit me up on Facebook. Either way you want to do it. I'd love to hear other people's ideas. I literally, just like I said, I went through my shelves and I was like, yep, I can do this for 30, this for 30, this for 30. And 30 was just a number I pulled out of the thin air because it seemed like a good number to work with. But if you have other suggestions for games that people can get into for $30 or less, like I said, drop them in the comments so other people can see them. I can see them. And I hope you found something in this video informative. Until next week, good gaming. Good luck.